Auzubillahi minash shaitanir rajim. Bismillahir rahim. Assalamu alaikum. Ji ayanu pakhair agale ni hao junashumme washmale. Ohio gozaima's guten morgen. Hola, boyor, privyet, kaifa hal? Hale shuma chatore, ahlan wa sahlan, marhaba, buna, mucho, gracias, swabia, bhalli kriaya. Hosh Galdin and Ayo. And thank you very much, everybody, for tuning into PTB World. You're certainly watching World this morning alongside my very well-learned colleague who happens to be Miss Hajo Sati. I happen to be Shahzad Hassan Khan, and we hope and pray that everybody out there is doing wonderfully well and that you're ready to kickstart your day with us. But first things first, hello Haja, how are you doing today?
Assalamu alaikum, and thank you so much. I do feel that, you are always very energetic, but I do feel that your energy level is extra. Did you had breakfast or something?
I had breakfast twice today.
Okay.
Alhamdulillah.
That's wonderful. So, Shahzad, I was going through an article in The Guardian, and that was a very interesting thing because it was sort of a book review.
Yep.
So it mentioned about the confidence culture. So nowadays, you feel a lot on social media how you need to own up your flaws and etc. Stuff like that, right? And then you need to accept all of your identity and not every time you're feeling perfect or you have the perfect beauty standards. But that article criticized and said that behind this very facade of the confidence culture actually lies a sort of a veil from the very structural oppression that is always inside our institutions. So they mentioned that they are saying that you need to feel confidence, and having said that, that means that you're actually hiding the very flaws that capitalistic system harbors, which says that the very idea of competitiveness, that there is not enough space for other people. It's very capitalistic and it's still there. So when you're saying that you need to feel confident, you are hiding attention from that aspect of the capitalistic system. So I think you do not agree with that. Is that so?
I mean, it's not that, and it's because of the fact that
Right.
just like how we refer to things on social media and different
Okay.
quotations and how people have been using filters and whatnot. I think
Right.
same goes with the article in a newspaper too as well, because totally, ladies and gentlemen, I think first things first, you really need to have this skill of comprehension towards yourself in the first place, and then make sure whether all what has been said is being the author being 100% honest or probably very accurate towards his job too as well, because this is very difficult in today's time to decide, and you can only decide with a lot of research, and a lot of research needs to be put in by the reader himself or herself as well, and only then we can come down to that point. But yes, partially I think I'm going to agree with you, and it's because of the fact that that is happening, where I have read another article where the article said that people just to buy branded clothes and belts and shoes are actually missing out on and they're actually missing out on their daily meals too as well, so just to save money. So imagine that's the kind of impression we have because of all the capitalism going around amongst us as well, and consumerism too as well. But ladies and gentlemen, all of these marketing skills will continue to be amongst us as well, and we really need to be fair with ourselves in the first place and make sure whether what we can do and what we cannot, and be confident about it, because Allah ki taqseem ke upar khawateen aur azad naraz nahi hona chahiye, and I think that's something which everybody needs to agree to. But very quickly, because when we come down and say that Allah ki marzi, I think when we talk about life, ladies and gentlemen, in a blink of an eye, we really at times are in a shock, and it's because of the fact that we lose our loved ones. And this actually kind of gives me a message as well. Imagine, so first it was our elder brother Burhan Bhai who actually went to Turkey, had a heart attack, and all of a sudden we got to know that he's no more, unfortunately. And me and Burhan Bhai would plan, commercial buildings, and we want to construct plazas and whatnot. And all of a sudden, Allah maaf kare, unfortunately, so there was no hope for their family too as well. And likewise, there was a recent incident which took place, and she happens to be one of our mentor over here at PT World, because she has been heading PT World too as well. Madam Rifat, just yesterday this news came in, passed away with the will of Allah Almighty as well. And I want to request each and every one of you to please pray for all the departed souls as well. And we actually have a package to share that too about Madam Rifat and her legacy, what she left behind, because all of us happen to be her students. She's left a legacy. She was always nice. She was a kind soul. Whenever you will be in conversation with her, she would always sound like a warrior, because lately, you know, she has been battling cancer too as well. So she would always give hope to other people, and the smile she carried. So, you know, remembering all of that, I think we really need to put forward that message which she always instilled amongst us, and that is that, you know, we all are working together as a team. So the dream is only going to work if the team is going to work.
Right.
So Madam Rifat, may Allah bless your soul. करवट करवट आपको जन्नतें मिलें. हम सब की दुआएं आपके साथ हैं. This is a true dedication for her and for her services for motherland and Pakistan television. Please go ahead and take a look.
In Pakistan, Kalimian lost some of the veterans who helped in making PTV a national institution. Legendary newsmaker and one of the most prominent journalists in news media, Madam Rafat Nazir was one of those professionals. She joined PTV News in 1983. On 10th August 2022, Madam Rafat Nazir left us for her heavenly abode. She had been battling against cancer for last few years. Owing to breathing difficulty, Rafat Nazir was admitted to a nearby hospital where she breathed her last. Madam Rafat Nazir had served as the Director News and Current Affairs in PTV News. She had headed PTV World as an in charge of the channel. Indeed, she was part of the pioneering team who launched Pakistan's only English channel, PTV World. She started her career from PTV Center, Karachi. Then she moved to Islamabad. She had been excellent field reporter who covered events both locally and internationally from various countries. She performed her excellent role in production, reporting and editing in a remarkable way. She has also worked as Prime Minister's beat reporter for many years. She always focused on issues of social welfare, common man, and always fought for the promotion and protection of national interests, and worked for the progress of the nation while discharging her professional responsibilities. Madam Rafat Nazir was an adept professional and a courteous human being who will always be remembered for her sterling qualities of heart and mind. Her colleagues are rarely torn apart to hear her sudden demise. It is appointed for man to die once, and after this judgment. But this we pray, that mercy reigns over judgment. Wishing you a blissful rest in eternity, Madam Rafat Nazir. We may not understand why you left this earth so soon, but little by little we begin to remember not just that you died, but that you lived, and that your life gave us memories too beautiful to forget. PTV mourns the death of Madam Rafat Nazir and prays for her departed soul. Indeed, we belong to Allah, and Him we shall return.
Inna lillahi wa inna ilahi raji'un. And it's not just Ma'am Rafat Nazir, although I never worked with her, but I've always heard, you know, really good things behind her back. And I think that is the real legacy that you carry, because one day we all have to leave this earth and we have to, you know, go towards Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So it's not just Ma'am Rafat Nazir who left for the heavenly board. It's also that one of our night shift desk editor, Saad Saud, also left yesterday for the heavenly board. Inna lillahi wa inna ilahi raji'un. For him. So Shahzad, I had worked with him and I find him to be a very wonderful colleague, and you know, he would always work on his, you know, the PC on the screen in front of him, and it's just so shocking, you know, that, you know, I heard yesterday that, you know, he left for the heavenly abode, because I didn't knew that he was suffering from some kind of disease, or he was battling some sort of a disease, and it's just that he had a heart attack and he left us. So I think, you know, this is a really sort of a sad time for the PTV world, because before that, you know, we also lost one of our all very brotherly colleague, and then, you know, these two deaths. So and you know, before that we had this Lispela tragedy. So you know, this all tells us that, you know, we are finite beings, and one day we have to leave this place, we have to leave this earth, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala had different plans for us, and we are so, you know, drawn into the cacophony of this worldly thing that, you know, we really didn't think that, you know, one day this day will come. And you know, with these two tragedies, you know, I'm just, you know, sort of what do you call it,
the shock is there.
jolted, yes, that, you know, yeah, one day we have to die, and one day yes,
thank you very much, Haja, for saying that and for these kind words, because these souls truly deserve that as well. And in addition to that, I think my message today will be that, you know, I think all of these incidents actually tell us that how vulnerable we are. And, you know, yet, you know, when we get some sort of post or authority, we try to be, you know, everything, which we are not. So please make sure that every single day when you leave your house, you leave as if you might not come back, or you live
Right.
your life the way that that tomorrow might never come. So
Right.
please make sure, ladies and gentlemen, that you are out there helping people, so that when you go for your heavenly abode, it's more easier.
Right.
And the angels actually welcome you as the ummati of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And now coming down to where we actually have been talking about national cohesion in the previous
Right.
days as well,
Right.
and now since it's going to be for the 14th of August as well.
Right.
But today on the 11th of August, it's very important day.
Right.
Why? I'll come later, but from the 10th of August till the 14th of August,
Right.
ladies and gentlemen, we are celebrating the Diamond Jubilee of the Constitutional Assembly, and because of which, on 11th, which happens to be the International Minorities Day, today is being celebrated amongst each and every one of us too as well, because minorities definitely have played a very pivotal role.
Shahzad, I would like, to be a slight correction
Sure.
here, because it's not the International Minorities Days, it's the National Minority Days, and I think we do understand, what does a minority feel like, because in the all India, we were a minority, and we were Muslim not by the, I think, definition, but by the discrimination that we faced there. That's why the leaders of that time, decided that we need to, strive for a new separate homeland, because, in India, we're not going to get the rights that we deserve. So that is why, speaking of which, Shahzad and I both are wearing our national flags, and there is a, dedicated column
white
of
color.
white.
Yes.
And whiteness represents the minorities. And we celebrate them, we cherish them, and when we talk about the minorities, so instantly the religious minorities pop up in our mind. So it's not just the religious minorities, it's the ethnic minorities, it's the other sort of minorities, when it comes to that, right? So I do feel, especially when you go up to the north, you will feel that, there are a lot of Kalashis there, right? They're also minority, and they're very fascinating sort of their own customs and, their principles and value system. And this is what makes Pakistan so beautiful, so diverse.
And exactly, in addition to that, I would certainly want to come back to where I was, because the Minorities Convention is taking place at the National Assembly today as well, and at the provincial assemblies too as well, where today we gather to celebrate and recognize the efforts made by the minorities to bring prosperity and good name to the country too as well. Because as much as I am a Pakistani, they are a Pakistani too as well, and we love it the way we are over here in Pakistan. And I would want, the other people outside the country too as well to come over here and experience it for themselves. Where how our Qaid-e-Azam Muhammad Ali Jinnah made a speech where he said that you're free to go to your temple, where you're free to go to your mosque, you're free to go anywhere you want to go. And Pakistan in particular, when we talk about it, ladies and gentlemen, I think we do have a lot of examples over here. For example, if we go in Sindh, particularly Hyderabad, I think there are a lot of Hindus and they practice Hinduism over there as well, where they have their mandirs too as well. Not just that, I think we really need to pinpoint Kartarpur over here. We need to talk about Sikh Yatris who actually come every year, and how happy they are and how extravagant they are, with the setup over here, with the governments and the effort which is being put in. And so today, I think on National Minorities Day, it is really very important for us to kind of make sure that we participate amongst all of those people who've represented Pakistan, who've represented this portion of the flag too as well, because as much as I'm a Pakistani, they are a Pakistani too, which is why, without any further ado, ladies and gentlemen, I'll take pride in introducing these lovely guests we have today. First of all, obviously, we have the representative of a Christian community as well. He happens to be Mr. Jeremiah Parvez. Hello, assalamu alaikum, good morning, how are you?
Wa alaikum assalam, and a very good morning.
Thank you very much for joining us once again, and I always love your accent, and I've always been complimenting about it. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for having me here, Haj Ranch.
It's always wonderful to have another Pakistani brother next to me. So thank you very much once again. Alongside Mr. Jeremiah, ladies and gentlemen, we're very lucky that we've been joined by a social activist. She happens to be Ms. Jaya Jaggi. Hi, how are you?
Hi, Assalamu alaikum, namaste, sat sri akal. I'm fine, thank you
Wa
so
alaikum
much.
assalam, namaste, sat sri akal. Thank you very much for joining us. Wonderful to have you. And alongside her, ladies and gentlemen, we are very lucky that we've been joined by Registrar of the University of Punjab, and he happens to be Mr. Pashad Singh. Hello, Paji. Assalamu alaikum. Ki haal chal? Fit ho?
वालेकुम जी अल्लाह दा शुक्र तुसी सुनाओ ठीक हो
Allah da shukar, bade arse baad third Punjabi boli hai, bahut hi maza aaya, badhiya maza aaya, mashallah. Thank you very much, Paji, for joining us. Wonderful to have you over here. And last but not the least, we wanted to have him over another show, but I think he was busy that day. So finally, he's taken out time to be amongst us today, ladies and gentlemen. Happens to be one of my favorite religious scholars. He's one of the smartest brains around when we talk about mathematics too as well. But ladies and gentlemen, today he happens to be a religious scholar. He's wearing that hat, and ladies and gentlemen, he is Mr. Imran Sandhu. Hello, sir. Assalamu alaikum. How are you?
Walaikum salam wa rahmatullah. And how are you?
Absolutely perfect, sir. And thank you very much for joining us. We have another guest, sir. from Hyderabad, who actually happens to be the ex-chairman Cotton Ginners as well. Ladies and gentlemen, we're lucky that we've been joined by Dr. Jassumar T. Limani. Hello, sir. Assalamu alaikum. Sat Sri Akal. How are you?
Walaikum salam. I am fine.
Absolutely.
I hope all
Dado
of
Sutto Asai.
Dado balo.
Wow, Dado Vallo Asai. Bahut acha. Kya baat hai, all the way from Sindh. So, Dr. Saab, first things first, on National Minorities Day, today we gather over here in the PT World Studios to celebrate, all of that the minorities have contributed towards the prosperity of the country.
Right.
So, how would you want to highlight the role of minorities in the first place? I seriously do not even feel great referring to it as a minority. I think as Pakistani brothers and sisters, what would you say in the first place?
First of all, I disagree with you as a minority because I am a Pakistani. No, I don't
Sir, मैं यही कह
believe
रही
in
थी.
I don't believe in the minority and majority
जी.
because I am in majority. So I am a Pakistani. I by birth because before Pakistan I am a native of this place. So Pakistan is my country. I love Pakistan. Qadirism, when in the first speech in the 11th August, he clearly say, no Hindu and Muslims, all we are Pakistani. So we love Pakistan. We are doing for Pakistan, and my family, my all family members, we are big families. We are 300 family members in Hyderabad, and so we don't feel any as a minority in Pakistan.
अच्छा डॉक्टर साहब मैं थोड़ी सी वजाहत कर दूं उर्दू में दोबारा से मैंने कहा कि मुझे माइनॉरिटीज़ का लफ्ज़ इस्तेमाल करते हुए अच्छा नहीं लगता है बल्कि मैं ये कहूँगा कि मेरे पाकिस्तानी बहन भाई आज मेरे साथ मौजूद हैं मैंने कहा हो सकता है इंटरनेट में कोई ख़राबी हो रही हो हैदराबाद में थोड़ी सी हो जाती है कभी अब मैं व्हाट आई वांटेड टू आस्क यू ओवर हियर टुडे वाज दैट हाउ वुड यू वांट टू हाईलाइट दी all the efforts you guys have made as Pakistanis to bring prosperity to the country, to bring good name to the country.
Yeah. As a businessman, I am working for Pakistan. I am a leading cotton exporter in Pakistan. I sell my product in the world as a Pakistani cotton and produce hair from all over the Pakistan. I am also grower and also ginner and also exporter. So
Wonderful, sir,
I work for the Pakistan and Pakistani people, my brothers. So I message to all my Pakistani brothers to work for Pakistan and Pakistan.
Thank you very much, Dr. Jassumar, for being with us. Lovely to be in conversation with you. And thank you very much for giving so much cotton to Pakistan and exports of cotton to Pakistan too as well. And we truly value and appreciate that as well. Very quickly, coming down to Jeremiah now. So, Jeremiah, you know what we're talking about today. No questions. What do you want to say?
Thank you very much once again to Pakistan Television, and thanks to you both for having me here. I love your energy, and I love the fact that we are celebrating minorities down here in Pakistan. I don't want to get in the nitty-gritties of the word majority and minority. I think sometimes us Pakistani Christians or the Pakistani minorities are too paranoid, and they are like, let's not use this word. So I believe that rather than getting in the nitty-gritties of who's majority and who's minority, it's we live in peace down here, and we are Pakistani brothers and sisters, as you said. You did mention the white pot. So the white pot itself traditionally it represents the purity and the innocence.
True.
Right.
And I think Pakistan is the only country
Right.
that showed the minorities before 1947 that the minorities will be given equal rights in Pakistan. And the reason for that is because our founder, Quaid-e-Azam Muhammad Ali Jinnah, the whole purpose and the sole purpose of having Pakistan was because he wanted an independent land for the minority Muslims of subcontinent, as you mentioned, Hajra. So I believe that Quaid-e-Azam Muhammad Ali Jinnah had a vision, and he did understand the sufferings of minority. And that is one of the reasons in the freedom movement, Christians were really close to Muslim League rather than Congress. Because Muslim League was a party that was considered to represent minority.
True.
So Christians were more close to Muslim League, and apparently later on, and they joined Muslim League. 4 of our leaders, like SP Singha and 3 other leaders, they casted their vote, and the west of Punjab became a part of Islamic Republic of Pakistan, and that includes Narowal and Pasoor and all that area. So I believe that Pakistani Christians and Pakistani minorities have played an important role, not just in the freedom movement,
yes.
but even after 1947. And we have not defiled this white part with any blood stains or any other stains. So we have tried to make this part, that white part in flag, pure and innocent.
be more bright.
Yes,
Right,
wonderful.
yes, yes.
Which is why I want to move on to Jaya Jaggi ji now. So Jaggi ji, whenever we watch a film, Jaggi is actually referred to somebody who's actually a don or somebody too as well. You happen to be a social activist in the first place. What I want to talk about today is the way you've enjoyed your freedom being a Pakistani. It's just like me, Hajra, or anybody else over here in this room.
Right.
And since you are a social activist, so even if you want to highlight a few challenges, please go ahead. Today is the day.
Thank you so very much. It is an honor to be here, especially on this particular day, which
Thank you.
actually makes us feel better that how we are celebrating and making sure the commitment of our founder, Quaid-e-Azam Muhammad Ali Jinnah, how we are taking it ahead and making sure that we are giving those spaces to everyone to enjoy and contribute. If I talk about my journey, I would suggest while I was growing up, I probably never thought that I am someone different religiously, or someone who probably does not belong to this land, because it was never inculcated, or I did not probably experience that way.
Right.
But yes, sometimes there are challenges depending on your locality, depending on the financial background you have. There can be challenges, and definitely there are, due to which we have been trying to highlight those problems so that at least the people who are having those sufferings, for example, we have various issues, for example, from education to sometimes job quota. But while we talk about those challenges or issues, the main purpose is to highlight those and to get some solutions out of those, so that the people who belong to marginalized areas or marginalized communities, they are also able to play their part in equal capacity with other people who are actually enjoying those benefits.
Right.
Wow, and you've said it and you've put it wonderfully well too as well. Thank you very much for saying that.
Right.
I think this is exactly what everybody wants to talk about. But I want to move on to Paji over here. But before I move on to Paji, I think first of all, sir, I would want to appreciate, because you happen to be a registrar in that university as well. And there's one more bit to it, and that is, since I'm affiliated with cricket most of the times too as well, I see a lot of Sikhs or Sardarji, playing domestic cricket. Alhamdulillah, inshallah, sooner they will be part of the national squad too as well. Not just that, we talk about Pakistan Army, we talk about medicine, we talk about education. Everywhere, alhamdulillah, every Pakistani has been flourishing so far. How do you see the education system? Do you think that the education system actually brings us closer, or do you think that it's otherwise?
Thank you so much. I think as I am connected with the field of education, and first of all, being a student of history and Pakistan studies, I want to take your area and other side that constitutionally, as you explained earlier, that white color represents the minority representation. So I want to highlight here, at the time of partition of Punjab in 1947, there was a total population of almost 15% for religious minorities in this area, subcontinent, total population of subcontinent. The minorities were 15% of the total population. But why Qaid selected the white color, and that color covers the 30% of that area? So I think the Quaid-e-Azam wanted to prioritize that community.
True.
And to inculcate his ideas and to express in our community and locality in thorough society. I think education is the only solution for that purpose. But when in our curriculum and different textbooks, especially history and other books, when there is a hate material, discrimination and other flaws, so which results in the different scenarios, especially in interior Sindh, South Punjab and different, remote areas of our country.
And I truly get that too as well, because
Right.
when we speak about education, alhamdulillah, now we have the single national curriculum where now, alhamdulillah, we
Right.
see that how, you know, when a kid is playing, for example, there was this one chapter which I was reading where, so there was, for example, if it was Sana playing, so Sana was actually playing with Jeremiah, or Jeremiah was actually recommending that Jaya is going to come and probably bring some pencils or color pencils too as well, which I believe is great. But at this point of time, I really need to kind of celebrate that how, you know, I've been a part of a Christmas celebration. I've been to the church
wow,
myself,
lovely.
where how, you know, I've participated in Holi amongst friends too as well.
Right.
And you know how they come over to our places too as well when
Right.
it's Eid. So I think it's that colossal way of coming
Right.
together every
and
time.
finding strength in that diversity, you know, which is actually what is our country is about, you know, because I mentioned that, you know, actually Muslims were a minority in the, you know, all India, and that is why, you know, our leaders thought that we need to create a country because they understand the suffering. So now moving to our, you know, the last and a very worthy guest, Imran Sandhu Saab. So Imran Sandhu, you know, when we are talking about the minorities, obviously we wanted an Islamic perspective. So before saying that, I would like to, you know, once again point out that, you know, Islamic empires were very inclusive when it comes to that, right? So for example, Ottoman Empire, there were a lot of, you know, slaves that, you know, actually rose to the highest positions. For example, their chief of the army staff was actually a slave, but, you know, he can rise to such a highest position, whether it's Jew, whether it's Christian, or any other, you know, minority.
Simply, let's take it back to Hazrat Umar Farooq Razi
Right,
as well.
right. Or, you know, when it comes to the Mughal empires, they were very inclusive when it comes to the minorities. So what is the Islamic perspective on the minorities and then the system that Islam devised?
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Yes, so the Islamic perspective, as I understand it, people may disagree or agree with me. You go back to the advent of the migration of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam to Medina.
Right.
So before, on the day of the migration, you know, Medina was surrounded by Jews.
Right.
And they wrote a treaty known as the Treaty of Medina. And in the very first you know, point in that treaty was that Jews are going to enjoy the same rights as Muslims will enjoy in Medina.
Right.
So this is the core of Islam actually.
Okay.
Islam actually in all its manifestations means peace.
Right.
Peace not amongst Muslims only, rather
Right.
peace with all factions of the society,
Right.
from any religion they belong to, from any color they belong to, from any creed they belong to, from
Right.
any family they belong to. It's peace for everyone.
Right.
So this is the basic manifestation of Islam, how to
Right.
live peacefully
Right.
amongst the community. So the development of community is the core. The development and of a family system is the core of Islam.
Right.
So you can very well see when you know, when he was there in Makkah and he was being you know, he had issues over there with while he was just propagating Islam over there as a system, as a political system, I would say. He had to send some of the people who were very poor at that time to Habsha.
Right.
And he was welcomed by the then Christian king over there.
Right.
As they went there, and they were given, you know, given rights. They were given a right of immigrant, as an immigrant was given, and peace to them.
Right.
The same thing reflected when some Christians came from Najran. Those Christians came to the Prophet's mosque. They were you know, welcomed there in the Prophet mosque.
Right.
And they signed again. They again signed a treaty with those Christians that if those Christians come to Medina, they migrate to Medina, they'll be given the same rights as Muslims were given the rights. So this is the core of Islam, and that is what is reflected when Pakistan was made.
Right.
Even as quoted by my fellow panelists, Qaid-e-Azam Muhammad Ali Jinnah was asked a question: what is going to become of the people from other creeds, religion? He said that when they are going to come and live in Pakistan, they'll said that implement Islam over here so that we can have equal rights.
Exactly.
So this was the core ideology of Pakistan, to live peacefully, to become a community, one single community, without any without disparity based upon color, creed, religion, etc.
And I would certainly want to go back to where Jeremiah actually mentioned that how we were a Muslim minority, you know, so we would always have that in mind, and obviously that reflects what Imran Sandhu Sahab even said as well. But with that, we actually have to head out towards a short break. When you guys will come back, we certainly want to ask them that, you know, how they've been contributing ever since, because they're representing their communities too as well. So with that, we're heading out towards a short break. Don't go anywhere, ladies and gentlemen, since we're observing National Minorities Day, and that too amongst the brothers and sisters from Pakistan who happen to be very proud Pakistanis. Alhamdulillah. Good morning.
Welcome back, and you know, we are celebrating National Minorities Day, and I always say one for all and all for one, and we always find strength in diversity, and this is what makes us, you know, stronger, but this is what makes us more, you know, unique when it comes to that. So I really wanted to, you know, tell you, Shahzad, that, you know, I had a Christian friend, and she's so lovely, and she will always talk about, you know, how they've contributed towards the armed forces, they have contributed towards the Pakistan, and there's so many contributions, and, you know, she was so proud of being Pakistani, and I think that was lovely, you know, that she was celebrating that. So I really wanted to go to Jeremiah Saab, and I wanted to ask him, you know, because he wanted to say about, you know, how they've contributed towards the armed forces. And apart from that, I really wanted to also talk about how there is also structural protection when it comes to the Constitution of Pakistan, and there's an institutional support. So there are quota system for the minorities, right? Especially in the political parties, in our political representation that's going on. But, you know, there's not enough awareness when it comes to that. So I really wanted to talk to you about on this subject, and I would really wanted your take on that.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you, Hajra. I mean, as I was talking about the freedom movement, and at one point in 1942, there was a Christian delegation of parliamentarians who came to Muhammad Ali Jinnah, Quaid-e-Azam, and Quaid-e-Azam quoted, and he said that Pakistan is the fulfillment of a dream of a people group that found themselves as minority in the subcontinent. So he did believe that, and he had a clear vision.
Right.
And that was not just accommodating the minority, but being generous towards them in Pakistan as well. So throughout the independence movement and after 1947 as well, if you talk about the Pakistan Army, officially there are 52 Pakistani Christians who have given their lives just to protect the honor of this land. There are so many people in the Pakistan Air Force. I think we can't forget the services of Cecil Chaudhry, Peter O'Reilly, and the Wing Commander Marin, who was the Sitara Bisalat and Sitara Imtiaz at the same time. In terms of education, I think before the program, or even in the break, Shahzad was telling us about the Lahore culture. So how can you forget the FC College in Lahore? You can't forget the Murray College in Sialkot. You can't forget the Gordon College here in Rawalpindi.
The Lawrence College.
Lawrence College in Murray. And Edwards
yeah.
College in Peshawar.
Yeah.
So the Pakistani Christians, I would use the word, Pakistani Christians have played immense role in the field of Pakistani forces, whether it's education. There was a time in the medical area that it was monopolized by Christian nurses, and to some extent it still is. So yeah, I mean, the Pakistani Christians have played an important role, whether you talk about Holy Family Hospital or other hospitals in different cities of Pakistan. Then we have a lot of other contributions as well, even in the judiciary. I mean, when you talk about A.R. Cornelius, Rana Bhagwan Das, and Justice Patel. So, I mean, if you talk about the pillars of the state, Pakistani minorities, especially Pakistani Christians, have always been there.
And we take pride in all of these too as well, you know, ladies and gentlemen, because, you know, they're no less than us, and, you know, we're no less than them. You know, this is how you coexist as well, which is why, you know, I'm very sorry, but, you know, since we're short on time, so I want everybody to enjoy the same time to themselves. So, Jayaji, you know, I want to talk about how, you know, just a few days ago we did this show on national cohesion too as well, which I believe is very important, coming together, that too from diverse groups, you know, for the same purpose. Because when it's going to be 14th of August and the peoples will be taking out their silences, it's going to be Sardarji too, it's going to be Jayaji too, it's going to be Jeremiah, it's going to be Shahzad, and it's going to be Imran Sadhu Sahab too as well, you know, because, you know, when it comes down to the country, when it comes down to being a nation, we're always together. When we talk about national cohesion as a social activist, how do you think that you've been working on it to make sure that every single time if we have an external threat, we come together as a nation?
Just adding to what he has already
You've
said.
always been adding so far.
What he has already said, that the Constitution provides us that space to put all the efforts equally. For example, we have this Article 25 that says that everyone is equal before law, and Article 5 that says that the same support would be provided to everyone and religious minorities who want to profess and practice their religion actually. So we are just trying to reinforce and reiterate to the people who probably are not sensitized to the concept of pluralism and an inclusive society. There have been people who probably do not understand the core meaning of inclusivity and how a diverse society can actually strengthen the entire nation. We probably be having differences, and we really need to understand that there would be people who would be having different interests, different choices, different opinions, and
Even
probably
in the same
different
family,
faiths.
we would have that with
Yes,
those amount of
that's
people
true.
too as well,
That's true.
where how my sister might not agree to my idea. But now moving on to Sardarji once again. So Sardarji, since you've been member of the single national curriculum too as well, so talking about education, you wanted to complete first of all, you know, I want you to complete and then we'll move on.
As I discussed that education is the only solution for social harmony and cohesion. So Government of Pakistan has initiated the system of single national curriculum under National Curriculum Council, Ministry of Federal Education and Professional Training.
True.
Under this system, the government wanted to take the education system at one platform, in which the madrasa system, government school system and elite school system have to come for the specified contents whatsoever, who is the publisher of the textbook or any textbook board, but the contents would be defined. There should not be any discriminatory material, there should not be any anti-customs or tradition, any values. So by promoting this system, the government has added the religious education for minorities. For the very first time after the independence from 1947, they have added the religious education for minorities, in which 7 different minority religions would be taught the subject of their own religion.
Wonderful.
Christianity, Hinduism, Sikhism, Baha'i, Kalash, Zoroastrianism, and Buddhist. These 7 religions would taught the subject of their own religion. As I am representing from the Sikh community, so the main appreciating point is that government has never insisted us to make our curriculum or textbooks by their own.
Exactly.
They have always allowed us to make the textbooks, our curriculum, and all the material by the concerned person of the concerned communities.
Wonderful. And hence we
Right.
have the national
Lovely.
curriculum of Pakistan too as well, which I believe.
Yes, this government has also adopted this system with the name of National Curriculum of Pakistan.
Exactly, and that's
Lovely.
beautiful too as well. But
Lovely.
now I have a very interesting question. So first of all, obviously we need to mention that since we can only adjust 4 guests, so we even wanted to have Kalashi people over here as well. We wanted to have the Parsis too as well. We wanted to have the Gilgit-Baltistan people come over here as well and represent.
Right.
And inshallah, they have been a part of the show regularly. And inshallah, in days to come, we will have them too.
Right.
Now, Sadhu Saab, I have a very different question because I still remember once you told me you have a foreign boss, and you have great chats with him. And he loves he loves adventure too. You love the adventure too as well, where how you have actually designed your car and you go off-roading. Wonderful. Now, what I've realized is that I mean, amidst all of us Pakistanis, we see harmony, we see synchronization, we sit together, we talk together, we eat together. This is something which I have seen across borders too. Now, for example, if I was attending a course back in time 2015 and 16, I was in UK. We had Indian students too amongst us. We had
Right.
Canadians. We were all friends. It was just like a conversation we were having.
Right.
But when it comes down to representing your country, I think when it used to be Pakistan versus India, only that was the time where we weren't having any conversation, and that too till the last T20 we had in a World Cup because we won without any loss too as well, and it was after ages that we did it. So when we see such peace and harmony, that too cross national or cross border, how do you think that we can really literally bring down the world to be a global village in real terms too, where nobody has any difference amongst anybody?
Well, with 7 billion people on the planet, it's very difficult to have no conflicts.
Yeah, true.
But the thing is, humanity in general agrees upon the core values of humanity.
True.
So, for example, there should be law everywhere.
Right.
Law of the land should be respected. So this is a core value that humanity actually upholds.
True.
In Islam, actually, if we see the political system of Islam, there is an answer to this in the political system of Islam as well. Islam enjoins four categories of governance systems.
True.
One is at the level of rural places, then the urban places, then national, and then international. So Islam respects international treaties. So since Islam respects international treaties, we are bound to respect the treaties signed by United Nations.
Right.
And whenever there is a difference of opinion amongst people, we should always refer ourselves back to the common law of international nature, that is the law of United Nations.
True.
So this is the only way you can keep the communities harmonized, nations harmonized. We should never shy off from a dialogue, never ever. War is never a solution. Dialogues always come up with a solution. This is
Exactly.
why we say dialogue. And Pakistan came into existence as a result of a dialogue
Right.
between different communities. So
Right.
Exactly, and
So-
we cannot emphasize more on Hukukul Abad too as well, because whenever I'm listening to Quran translation, I think most of the time, usually the most common phrase
Right.
which I have heard is और तुम गरीबों को खाना नहीं खिलाते हो और तुम खाना नहीं खिलाते हो. Allah never tells you कि तुमने किसी क्रिश्चियन को खाना खिलाना है, किसी सिख को खाना खिलाना है. You know, I think Allah has always ordered us to be kinder to people, to be nicer to people, and which is why, you know, I believe that humanity itself is a religion. You know, if you're good to people, ladies and gentlemen, Allah might even forgive you for what you might have done wrong to Allah. But in the first place, you really need to be very kind to the people Allah have sent amongst us. You know, we really need to make sure that every single day we're not hurting anybody, that we're not damaging anybody's esteem, or probably, you know, whenever it comes down to one-on-one relationship or interpersonal relationship, you know, at times we do make mistakes. We're humans, we're prone to them, we're vulnerable. But I think even our religion tells us that as well, that we really need to peacefully coexist as well, which is why thank you very much each and every one of you for joining us. Wonderful to have you. Stay blessed. And it's all because of you that we call ourselves Pakistanis. Thank you very much for every single day contributing, moving in towards that direction too as well. So I wanted to say Pakistan Zindabad towards the end, but we have to wish another Pakistani a very happy birthday too as well. So Chaudhry Aqib Saab, बहुत आपको happy Hatch Day. Thank you very much for coming to this world. And I don't know whether you've contributed quite a lot or not, or you know, it's just a birthday, you know, birthday shout out. So please make sure that you're a good son to your parents first of all, and then this Chaudhriyat you have, please make sure इसको हटा के आकिब रहे, आकिब रहें, ठीक है? तो आकिब भाई आपको बहुत बहुत मुबारक हो, and for everybody who's actually celebrating their birthdays today, ladies and gentlemen, please make sure that you stay healthy, happy, and make sure that you keep your parents happy. If you keep your parents happy, you will keep your God, you'll keep your Allah, you will keep your Bhagwan happy, you know. So please make sure that you keep your parents happy. And towards the end, Azmi Alishan, Shad Rahega Pakistan, Pakistan Zindabad.